This week I've been diving into the 2026 Genesis GV70. This is the updated version of the most popular SUV that Genesis sells, and it's got a bold new face, new quality tech, including a giant screen front and center. Genesis calls this design athletic elegance, but the real question is Genesis delivering as much quality as the Germans for thousands less dollars? That's what we intend to answer in this video. I'm Adam, this is TexasGarage. Let's get into it. First, let's break down the trims and let you know where this thing sits. So for 2026, we have 6 different trims. 4 of those with the 2.5 liter turbocharged engine, 2 of them with the 3.5 liter twin turbo, which is what we have here. All of them all-wheel drive with the 8-speed automatic transmission. My tester is the 3.5T Sport Prestige all-wheel drive. Basically the maxed out version. We'll talk about the price shortly, but first let's jump into the exterior design. So let's talk about the exterior. First off, I think this is a really nice looking vehicle. It's a good size, not too big, not too small. Genesis has updated it for 2026, but it still looks very much like a Genesis, which is a good thing. They're nailing their design aesthetic right now. Up front, you've got a large crest grille, and for 2026, it's been reshaped to sit wider and lower. The 2-line headlights now use micro lens array tech, which is fancy talk for really crisp, jewel-like lighting. It's sporty without going over the top. The hood flows seamlessly into the grille with that Genesis badge sitting proudly on top. It's clean, and they really put some thought and effort into the badge with a lot of detail. From the side, you've got this coupe-like profile. Mine has 21-inch wheels, which fill the arches really nicely. Around back, the quad-line taillights continue the theme, and the bumper exhaust area looks cleaner now with the refresh. You also get the little details, power folding mirrors that tuck in when you lock the car, and of course, the automatic pop hatch that opens as you stand beside it with the key in your pocket. Overall, I think the Genesis has given this just enough of a refresh to keep it sharp. It looks upscale, sporty, and premium, but without trying too hard. Speaking of that hatch, let's open it up. The rear hatch is one of those things that makes life easy. You just stand back there with the key and it pops open automatically. Inside, you've got 28.9 cubic feet of cargo space behind the second row. Fold those seats nearly completely flat, and it opens up to 56.9 cubic feet. That's plenty for a trip to the airport, a week's worth of groceries, or even some bulkier items. The floor is low and wide, and Genesis even gives you some underfloor storage for smaller stuff, but no spare tire. But the cargo space here is top tier. This trim packs the 3.5 liter twin turbo V6, making 375 horsepower and 391 pound-feet of torque. It's paired with the 8-speed automatic and full-time all-wheel drive. The big party trick here is the road preview suspension. It scans the pavement ahead and adjusts damping on the fly. You feel it when you hit bumps that would normally upset a big SUV like this, but this one takes them with grace. Power is really good. It's not instant like the G70 EV I drove before, but for a gas SUV, this thing gets up and moves. Highway passing, no problem. Pulling out into traffic, easy. The 2.5 is still the more efficient choice, but if you want the punch and refinement, the V6 is the way to go. But of course, power only matters if the cabin is up to par. Let's head inside. All right, step inside, and the first thing you notice is that large 27-inch OLED panel. And Hyundai and Genesis both have done this for a little while, where you have one large glass piece, but you can tell it's two different screens in there. This thing, much more seamless. Obviously, you're only getting touch feature on the infotainment side, not on the gauge cluster, which you don't need to be poking at your gauge cluster anyways. We've got beautiful seats. We've got nice interior materials, other tech. Let me pick you up and give you a good look around here. And of course, front and center, like we said, is that full big display. And you can see we've got the map kind of fading off into the gauge cluster with this mountain scene behind that is completely connected throughout. You can swipe over. Again, you still got that connected feel, but you've got all your apps and things here. You do have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto connectivity. Lots of great info, media here, and quite frankly, just stuff that I would never play with as reviewing this car, but if you owned it, would be cool to have. One cool to have is the 360 camera. So you do have full 360 view with backup or front view here, and you can change what you're looking at through a couple of buttons on the screen, and that can be accessed from a button down here, or of course putting it into reverse. Below that screen we have some AC and heat vents, and then some of your media controls here, including your hazard light button, push button start over here, and then you have another panel for your AC and heat controls, and this is all capacitive touch, and you can go from front to rear, and you can control driver and passenger separately, which is really great. Below that we've got this carbon fiber looking weave trim, and then probably the more controversial material is this titanium looking trim that gets tarnished very easily by fingerprints. So having a microfiber cloth to keep it clean is kind of a must. You've got a button to turn off your auto start stop feature. That's your camera button. And then you have drive and terrain modes. So we're in drive, you can see, but if you tap that down, you go into terrain. From drive, we've got eco, comfort, sport, sport plus, and my mode. We'll keep it in eco for now. If you go into terrain modes, we've got snow, mud, and sand. Coming back down to our buttons, we've got a couple of buttons for our menu system and a dial here that will interact with the infotainment screen, and a fingerprint sensor for different profiles. We have our auto hold button, and then our transmission shifter here again, all the way over for reverse, forward for drive, neutral, and park. Nice cup holders here, good use of space. Wireless phone charger, which is great, but we also do have USB-C connectivity down in the console. Console itself is nice and squishy, so nice on the elbow. And getting a better look at those seats, they are really nice. Quilted, perforated, black leather with orange stitching, orange piping, very nice bolstering, and the driver's seat has a feature, and you can massage these seats, but the driver's seat has a feature where it will actually start hugging you when you go fast, or you're into sport mode and you're going in turns and things like that. It also rolled up on my back and said like auto posture adjust, which was interesting but worked out fine. You can see we have the orange seat belts, which really pop in here. You can adjust the passenger side positioning from buttons on the side, so if the rear passenger needs a little bit more space and there's nobody here in the front, he can push them up. The rear seats themselves are plenty spacious, plenty for kids being back there or adults. I had no issues the entire time. You do get a nice armrest with cup holders back there as well. Steering wheel also really nice black leather with the orange stitching, Genesis logo here. Nice button array on the steering wheel, paddle shifters back there, and then of course our gauge cluster, which we've kind of already seen, and as you shift drive modes it does change a bit to let you know. You can also flip through a couple of different viewing options here from the steering wheel. We also do have a head-up display, which is a bit difficult to see on camera, but a really great addition to any vehicle. And of course, we also have the full panoramic moonroof here with sunroof. Really great, except for it's generally too warm in Texas to have these open a lot, at least around this time of year. With that, I think I rambled enough about the interior. Let's go ahead and take this thing for a drive. Driving the GV70 is exactly what I hoped it would be. It's quiet, road noise is minimum, tire noise is almost non-existent. The suspension soaks up bumps beautifully, and that road preview system really makes a difference. The V6 has more than enough power for Texas highways. It's strong but smooth with torque right where you need it. Handling, confident, with the steering that's light around town but firms up nicely on the highway. It's not as razor sharp as a BMW X3, but it's more comfortable, and for daily driving, I actually prefer that. All in all, the GV70 drives as good as it looks. Of course, power and comfort mean nothing if you're stuck at the pump all week. The 3.5 liter all-wheel drive is rated at 18 miles per gallon city, 25 miles per gallon highway, with a combined rating of 21 miles per gallon. The 2.5T all-wheel drive does better at 20, 28, and 23. So if fuel economy is your top priority, go 2.5T. But with the V6, you're trading a couple of mpg for much stronger performance and that adaptive suspension. Now, what's it going to cost you? So the 2026 GV70 starts out just under $49,000. That's for the 2.5T all-wheel drive. Step up to the V6 trims and you're looking easily in the $50,000 to $60,000 range. This Sport Prestige all-wheel drive tops out just over $70,000, which is basically the ceiling of the GV70 that you can get with a gas engine. And 70 grand is a lot, but let's see how that compares with other things on the market that this competes with. Your obvious cross shops are the BMW X3, Audi Q5, and Mercedes GLC. Now, out of those three, I've driven the GLC the most. The X3 still leads in sharp driving experience, but lacks a little bit in interior quality. The GLC brings that plush cabin feel with the large MBUX screen and infotainment system. And the Q5 is that quiet all-arounder with Quattro confidence. But to match what you're getting in this G70, you're easily spending $3,000 to $8,000 more. And quite frankly, even being okay with spending that money, I would still prefer this. So where did this land? Let's jump out and I'll give you some of my final thoughts. So the 2026 GV70 is one of the best looking SUVs in its class, period. The Genesis design language really just works here inside and out. The 27-inch OLED is a wow factor. Materials are top notch, seats are some of the best in the game, and it's got clever tech without a high price tag for adding a bunch of different options. It drives smooth and quiet without sacrificing performance. Cargo room and rear space make it family friendly. And at the end of the day, the value equation still beats what the other brands are offering. Is it the best luxury SUV for the money? From where I'm sitting, yeah, it probably is. And if you like that review, here's how you stick with us. First, thanks for watching this far into the video. If you enjoyed, please hit the thumbs up button, leave me a comment down below, let me know what you think about the Genesis GV70 for 2026. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. We do a different review every week, lots of great content on the channel. Also check out TXGarage.com where we've got a lot of written reviews as well as event and news coverage from a lot of great authors, not just myself. I'm Adam, this is TexasGarage. Let's get into it again on the next one.